everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's bonus Halloween edition of Everything is Awesome. I'm your host, Kevin. This is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. In this week's bonus episode, it's actually extra bonus because we have two things going on today. We have the creators of The Mark of Kings, Suzy and Fernando. Got to sit down with the first comic book writers on the show that we've had, which is surprising because this is, we are like almost, 40 some episodes in, almost, heading towards 50, and we've yet to have a comic book creator on. So they're our first comic book related people on the show. So that was really, really exciting. It was really cool talking to them and learning about them and their book and some of their, what inspires them and whatnot. They actually challenged us to do something Halloween related for next year, so I won't spoil it, but challenge accepted. And after that, there is some bonus footage from our interview with the After Six podcast with Travis and Adam, specifically Adam. Travis had connection issues with his internet, and I think he ended up actually connecting through his hotspot on his phone. So at the end of the interview with Suzy and Fernando, we're going to kick into the bonus extra material of me and Adam from After Six podcast. I think Travis pops in very, very briefly near the end of it, and that's kind of when we kick it off to go into the normal podcast that you heard last week. And then, of course, Wednesday, we're back to our normal schedule. Not that we were off our normal schedule, but our normal episode on Wednesday features Cade Aldrich. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. He is the founder of the GSO, the Global Space Organization. I'm hoping I got the acronym right there. And we had a fascinating conversation about space travel and his mission to go to the moon and beyond in the first part of our conversation. So happy Halloween, everyone. We're really excited. I hope you guys enjoyed the special Halloween edition of the theme song I put together. Just something that I did real quick. It probably could have been a little bit more polished, but whatever. So happy Halloween. Be safe out there, kids, when you're trick-or-treating. I'm assuming if you're listening to this show, though, you're too old to be trick-or-treating, but tell your kids to be safe, or your niece and nephews or whatever. And happy Halloween. Make good decisions. Don't drink and drive and whatnot if you're going to Halloween parties on a Monday night. Happy Halloween from everyone here at Everything is Awesome, only on awesomepodcast.com. Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. This week we have two guests on. It's one of those shows this week, and I've had the pleasure to talk to plenty of actors, authors, tabletop creators, and storytellers and musicians. But the one medium that we always end up talking about here on Everything is Awesome is comic books and graphic novels and stuff. And oddly enough, I have yet to talk to anyone from that world, or at least directly from that world. So we have the creators of The Mark of Kings, Suzy Stein and Fernando Perez. Hopefully I did not butcher your name on the show this week. Thank you for being on the show, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for having us.
You guys came across my desk, and I was super interested in talking to you guys because comic books is something, graphic novels are something that I'm really into, or at least was back in my younger days. Harder to do when I have kids and other responsibilities, but so let's just kind of get right into it. What got you guys into wanting to create stories through the comic / graphic novel medium?
We were just looking for ways to get our stories out there. We write, and we were making small films, short films, and a web series. And Fernando had pitched his original script to a couple of people, and one of them suggested, we'll make it into a comic, because there's been a lot of comics that have been made into films once they have a good following. Plus, Fernando and I both read comics and enjoy that medium. So it just seemed like a good fit, another way to get our stories out there.
What's the origin point for you guys in comic books? Is it, as kids, or did you find it later in life?
Me, I found out later in life. I grew up in a small town, and we really didn't have a comic book store. The only comics I really saw were like in the magazine section of like your grocery store. And even then, my parents were like, "Put it back. We're not going to pay for it." So I'd only get through like the first couple of pages.
Yeah.
What really got me into it was, um, I'd see like Super Friends, Saturday morning TV. Friend of mine found out Ken Rock was actually one of the writers for that TV show. Um, and so I that was my introduction to superheroes. But what I really became fascinated was when I saw Christopher Reeve portray Superman on the big screen, and I saw him fly, and I was just in complete awe that there's this actual person and he's really flying, and that got me even more into the not so much the superhero aspect of it, but the comics. There's a lot more stories where these people have incredible abilities and these awesome backstories, and that's what really got me involved with comics.
And I do love the art. I think I got into comics in college. I think my parents pretty much thought it was for kids. So I got into it in college, and I've just been a huge fan of the art for me as well as the storytelling.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's similar for me, I guess, in the sense that like it always was as a kid, not so much my parents or anyone that was responsible for me, but it was my peers that were like, oh, comics for kids. Like I read when I was a kid, I didn't read anything mainstream. I read like Bart Simpson and Ren and Stimpy and silly little dopey comics like that. I think every now and then I got something like legitimately, like DC or Marvel across my desk. But and then when I got older to like pick my own stuff, it was when kids were like, "Oh, you don't want to be like." It wasn't 2016. Like in the late 80s, early 90s, if you read comics, it was not cool at all.
Oh yeah,
Right, yeah.
You were a nerd. You were
Yeah.
antisocial. You didn't have a girlfriend or boyfriend or anything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I always point to this as the indication of how the world's changed. In December, when Force Awakens came out, we had a commercial with a kid who built an R2D2 unit to ask a girl out on a date to go see Star Wars. Like, it's just amazing that in 20 years the world's flipped.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember my mom making me an R2D2 costume for Halloween by putting two of those round laundry baskets together with a hole in the middle, and then she
Nice.
covered it in tinfoil. So, Fernando and I are proud members of that club.
Yeah. My parents didn't know what Star Wars was. My dad thought that a Tauntaun from Empire Strikes Back was like a deformed horse, So he's like, "What is this? I don't understand that." So you kids and your wacky creatures. So
Yeah, I was, again, and it wasn't necessarily my parents that got me introduced into Star Wars. I was born in '84, so my uncle, who's a couple years older than me, he's more like an older brother. He introduced me to that world, and I remember just like I was probably about 9 years old or so watching the first Star Wars, and it's just such a magical moment when for any kid really to start watching that movie. I sat down with my son and watched it, and like a little less so than I would have hoped. The joy he had, it took a couple of viewings for him to really get into it, but I'll blame the fact that he's 4. So
Yeah. Yes to that. No.
yeah, he's not he did turn around though, and he's a big fan of Han Solo, so like that won me over. I was like, all right, okay, you're picking the right guys, and he's starting with episode 4, not going to the prequel trilogy or anything.
yeah, stay away from that.
So with now, are you guys the artists too, or are you just writing the book?
We are the creators and the writers. Our artist is Matthew Fletcher, and he's based out of Connecticut. Our colorist is actually Robert Grove. I think he's also in Connecticut as well too. And our letterer is Alexander Lugo, and he's in L.A.
Okay.
And we're in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, that's impressive to get that team together with all the different time zones.
A lot of Skyping.
Yeah.
Especially with because Phoenix is I've been there a few times. Isn't that Is Phoenix the place that doesn't really have daylight saving times? Like it's always just the same time?
Yeah, no daylight savings time.
Yeah. So that one's real wacky because it's either for me it's either 2 hours behind or 3 hours behind.
Exactly. And people always get it confused.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it was. I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't ever. I used to travel out there for work or all over for work, and it was always that was the worst place simply because of the time issue. Other than that, I loved it.
Yeah.
The only place I know where you have to have your AC on when you go Christmas shopping.
Well, you know what's wild is I live in Philly. I'm in the Philadelphia area. And last year was the first Christmas in my lifetime in 32 years that I had to turn the air conditioning on because it was that hot on the East Coast.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, it was there's one mindset of like, oh, cool, like it's not snowing, it's not cold, it's like just a nice cool temperature, or I guess warm temperature. But Christmas Day is the one day I like to see snow at least.
Yeah, exactly. We never see that here unless we go up to about 2 hours up north of Phoenix and Flagstaff.
Oh, see, that's great. Like that's ideal for me. Like if I could have it my way, it would be snow Christmas Day, and then let me be 2 hours away from it. That way, if I want to go there, it's a quick day trip, you know?
Yeah, get away from it before it starts to melt.
Yes, exactly. So, let's talk the story for the Market Kings. It's very it's an interesting story. It's a take on the vampire genre that is pretty unique, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did this story come from? Is this what you were trying to do for a web series or film, and then eventually just turn to comic books?
This stemmed out from a story that I was writing when I was back in college, back in the early '90s, actually, and the story changed quite a bit. So, I did retain some of the names of the characters. And it was just something to pass some time when I was in college in my free time, because I wasn't a drinker, I wasn't a big time partier. I was just in my room. I was a Lobo Solo, so dateless wonder. So I wrote this. Story about this vampire who just one day decided to go out, and he fell in love and got a girl pregnant. But vampires aren't supposed to have kids. And so it's like written in the scriptures that he's supposed to be this chosen one, this leader of all the vampires. And so that story changed over time to where now no one knew that he was a king, the chosen one. And so it just turned into a story now where politics was involved, racism was involved, families were involved, because you have half-breeds now, people that were human that are now vampires. Some love it, some hate it, and it just grew into the story that we have right now.
But I think the interesting part is there's these people are vampires, but they have the same foibles as we do. They have the same desires, they're greedy. They fall in love. They care about their family.
They don't sparkle.
Yeah, no sparkle. So it's kind of like they just happen to be vampires, and I think that raises a lot of interesting story for us.
Yeah, I like that. That's something that you don't see a lot of. Mixing some sort of genre beast or whatever, vampire, werewolf, zombie, whatever you want to say. You don't see that mixed into like, oh, they're just like another sect of humanity or the planet Earth.
This is kind of like the House of Cards, but with vampires.
Oh my God, you sold me. That should be the tagline. Like that's how you sell it. That's how you tell people to read a graphic novel. It's House of Cards, but with vampires.
There you go.
It's interesting. I do have to ask, because I've never I like a lot of my friends, we talk about who we like as writers and artists and whatnot. Who's some of your favorite comic book writers and artists?
We like Mark Waid. Huge
Okay.
fans of Mark Waid, Bob Layton, who I just every time I see him at con, I stalk him, love him.
Oh yeah.
And
I think there's a restraining order actually.
yeah, probably. If not, it's in the works. Matt Fraction is
Okay.
and just love him. Really interesting. And then we just I started reading this Spire. Just happened to be standing next to their table when they were signing. So I just, anybody that's interesting. I think what's the one I started reading, Federal Bureau of Physics, where these people head out to find out why gravity stopped working in one particular spot. All sorts of things.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Suzy on that. And then what's his name? Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Kurt Sutter.
Yeah, Kurt Sutter.
Yeah, I like his new one a lot too. And some of the same ones that Suzy had mentioned. And film wise, I'm a big fan of David Goyer. Okay. I love Christopher Nolan stuff.
Yeah.
I like David Mamet or Mamet. Yeah. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but the things he does with words.
And Aaron Sorkin.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love words, and I think the things they do to them is awesome.
I've grown to, and again, I'm way behind in a lot of my comic book graphic novel reading, but Scott Snyder is someone that I've really grown to love through when they rebooted DC a few years back with the New 52, his Batman run.
Yeah.
And this is I don't even know how many it's been at least probably 3 or 4 years at this point, but the issue 5 on that, just not only the writing but the art from Greg Capullo is I was just talking about it the other day with a coworker of mine, why it's my favorite comic book ever, because he makes you feel like the madness that Batman's going through by you having to physically turn the comic book to read it, because it's just this madness of the storyline that he's in right now. It's one of it was one of the, as a single issue comic book that like really kind of showed how legitimate the medium has become.
Oh yeah. We also like Scotty Young. I forgot. I have a signed print of his. I Hate Fairyland. I love Scotty Young.
All right, so Market Kings is it available? When is it available?
It's available now on our website at entity.com, entitye.com. It's available at what's comic book store?
A comic book stores here in Phoenix, Silver Star Comics. We'll be talking to some other retailers here soon.
Right. We also are going to be for Second Friday in Mesa at Gotham City Comics. Mm-hmm. And we were just at FanFest. We're going to be at Mad Monster early next year, and then Monster Palooza as well. But if you can't make any of those, it's on our website.
Yeah. And also we're taking a look at Amazon too.
Yeah, we're going to try to put it up on Amazon.
Is this a single run, or is this going to be an ongoing book? I feel like this will be ongoing. We also have some other stories that we want to put into comic, but Market Kings, this storyline will be 4 issues, but the story continues with some new characters, and some of these characters will be recurring as well too. But we have another story that Suzy's working on right now that we're looking into developing to put it into comic book form, and some other ones in the pipeline. So so we're good to go.
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding time to write. We just we film as well, so it's just
hopefully this side job will be a full-time job soon.
One day.
That's the dream for me too. Whether it's the podcasting or I have a huge interest in filmmaking. It's I mentioned the guy that I like for comics, but I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and when it comes to filming, I mean, the podcasting. I started podcasting right around when he started as well, just by happenstance. But over the years, I've fully kind of like taken on like a Kevin Smith persona and mindset, and I have all this great things written down. It's just finding the time and money to
Yeah, no
to get it
kidding.
all done.
Yeah, no, we did. We just entered the 15-second horror challenge.
Oh, you know
And
what? I saw that somewhere. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was sent to me or if I saw it on your site or on Twitter or something. But I did notice that. So let's talk about that real quick.
oh yeah, well that took 9 hours to film, and it was 15 seconds. So when you mentioned finding the time, yeah, we totally get that.
So 9 hours to film a 15-second story.
Well, that was the thing. We basically our MO was to actually make it a story, despite the fact that it was 15 seconds. We felt the best storytelling, it has a beginning, middle, and end. Excuse me. So that was the first thing, that we felt it had to have a story. And we were lucky enough to film in a real operating room, and we only had 9 hours. So
And then they kicked us out.
yeah. So we used every bit of it. And we're happy with the results.
How challenging was it to just write or come up with the concept of a 15-second story?
Well, Suzy's the one that came up with the story, and she pitched it to me.
And then we reworked it, and then we talked to our DP, and he reworked it, and trying to up the tension. It's bright in an operating room. There's plenty of light, so
Nothing's hidden.
Yeah, we're trying to scare people in broad daylight, as it were.
Okay.
So I think we took it seriously, like we would any short we were filming, and just to again make sure it wasn't just a series of images was important for us.
Yeah, I as I remember reading up on this, and I was like, this is such a cool challenge I sent it to my partner, and I was like, we need to try to do something like this, because it would be just a fun little challenge, but it's 9 hours. That's to get 15 seconds. That's a big commitment. I applaud you for that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. And we had,
Amazing.
makeup that was, that was applied by
David Ayers, who did Battlestar Galactica, worked on some parts of Star Wars, and he just happens to be here in Phoenix. So we took full advantage of that. And then
Cool.
our DP and editor, Joel Kay, is a perfectionist. So we made sure, the shots would fit. And, we just, like I said, we took it as seriously as we could. I think everyone had fun.
Mhm.
But I think by the end of the day, people were running home.
Yeah, our sound guy was really good too for adding the music and some of the sound effects in there. Christopher Newmeyer, also here in Phoenix, and I think he did a really good job, because without the sound, when we were watching it, it's like, oh, it's okay. And then he added all those sound elements into there, and I'm like, yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
Made a huge difference.
It's amazing what sound can do for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just, like I said, I think for us, it was important. It had a beginning, middle, and end. And I think, it's all subjective. The only ones we have to please is ourselves, because we just can't please everyone. But I still want to win. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, of course. So can people watch that online yet? Or I guess that's going to be after the fest?
No. The nice thing about the competition is once you enter and they accept it, you can put it up. It's more publicity for the festival. So it's on our Facebook page, Entity I, or it's on our YouTube channel, Entity I. Take a look at it, and feel free to tell us what you think.
It's called Pandemic.
Yeah, it's called Pandemic. Oh my God, thank you.
That's a key element to have in the plot.
Yeah.
It's called Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
we'll be sure to have a link to all this great stuff in the show notes and stuff too. Make sure you check out Pandemic on Entity Eye's Facebook page or YouTube page. Check out the Mark of Kings on the website again is
entityi.com, ENTITYEYE.com.
And go support that. Support indie artists and indie comic book, especially that how much we love that medium here. And indie especially is something we love to plug away at. So go support some great indie artists and writers here if you enjoy everything that we talk about here, because, it would be great for them, great for us. Guys, thanks for doing the show.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yes, not a problem. for everything is. Oh, is there any other plugs that you guys want to get out of the way for yourselves?
Well, I'd like to present a challenge that you enter the 15-second horror challenge next year,
Okay.
and we'll have a little private side bet as to who does better.
Okay. As soon as you started that sentence, I was like, oh my God, I got like 2 days to do it.
No. I'll make it fair next year.
Okay. That's, you know what? And I will accept that challenge. I will let my partner know that we have just over a year to come up with a concept and film it.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. Thanks for I love that because for International Podcast Day, I threw out some challenges out there for people to just sit down and talk on a microphone, whether it's your phone or whatever, because it's such an easy medium. This is, maybe not what I'm doing right now necessarily, but for the most part, podcasting is just another form of storytelling, and it's it's a challenge that, again, being the slightly thinner version of Kevin Smith, I tell everyone you should just record, sit down and record. You have a phone, you can do it. Anyone can literally do a podcast, and I think I'm of the mindset the more people that are doing it, the better. So okay. Again, thank you guys for being on the show. Check out The Market Kings on entity.com. Check out Pandemic on their Facebook page, Entity, or on their YouTube page, Entity. For Everything is Awesome, I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. You can find us on awesomepodcast.com. We've been awesome.
And I had to shut down the live stream and all that, so Travis is going to the bathroom, and then he'll be in, so...
That's fine. I was a couple of minutes late myself because I was people were talking about the New York show, the screening that's on before us. So I hopped in to self promote and self indulge in my crat.
Nice. So yeah, he's relieving himself in the men's restroom, and then he will be by directly.
Not a problem. Yeah, after probably about 5 to 10 minutes after we disconnected Zencastr yesterday, I saw his file pop into my Dropbox at 8 minutes. So it's definitely his connection is what's affecting Zencastr. Yeah. But I wonder if, and maybe he can't download it until it's done uploading, but I wonder if he can download the file on his end first, and then just email it to you if you guys use Zencastr.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're back to recording via Skype now, so that that's definitely helpful. But like this episode that we just recorded, like it's gonna be tough for me to put it together because his internet's still kind of jacked up. So there's like parts where he was dropping out and stuff. So it's just kind of a pain.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it's only a benefit to a degree in Zencastr because like it won't break up in the final production. But I mean, clearly there's got to there'll be moments where we say, "What was that? What?" Yeah.
I just hate I don't know how this is really my first time. So I went on Poorly Summarized. And that was a little bit different of appearance because we don't really talk about, I mean, you do like a brief discussion about, our podcast, but then mostly you're just doing their show. You know what I mean? Like they've got segments and bits and stuff. So this is really the first time I've sat down and really had a lengthy discussion with another podcaster, which is interesting for me.
Yeah, no, that's how this show started. And I don't mind talking about this before we officially start because I've probably said this on numerous shows. But like the original concept for this show, like at this point, almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, was to be a podcast about podcasts, basically. And I took that from Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman, the original interpretation of that. And I was just going to talk shop with other podcasters. But at the time, 2.5, 3 years ago, I was like, well, that's going to limit, once I blow through all my podcasting friends, who's going to want to talk to me after that? I did not, and maybe it was because I just was never, I was never concerned with anything else but my own show back then. But, I didn't know how tight the podcasting community really was, or maybe it wasn't 3 years ago, but, I'm part of the Philadelphia. Where are you guys from?
Indiana.
So I'm in Philadelphia. We have this. There's a group called the Philadelphia Podcasting Society, which they also run the podcast fest. And like joining that up, that's like a super tight group. And I mean, it is a lot of like just self promotion in there, but there is some discussion of like, hey, like let's have a meetup, or hey, let's I want to do this. Like, do you guys have ideas? So there's some collaboration going on in there. But it's definitely like, I mean, I've met so many people from there that I now consider friends, and
That's awesome.
so yeah, but because at the time I didn't like think I could just live off of podcasting, the show turned into what this is, which is me just talking to interesting people, or anyone I find interesting at the very least, and. Like, I have yet to do it, but I want to sit down with my buddy who lives in Alabama, because we've had talks about, like, the Southern culture down there. And he lives close to a county that at the time in 2010 still had a sign that said, if you're colored, get out of the town by darkfall.
Serious?
Yeah, that blows my mind as just, like, I don't know, as a person that lives in the 2000s. Like, it's crazy that exists. So
that's insane.
So yeah, that's where this show came from. But then I found out, like, mainly my guests have been podcasters, just because I don't know, just because that's how it happens.
Yeah, I think that you underestimate also perhaps the because you said you thought you'd run out of shows, but to be honest with you, man, I don't think you would. I mean, there's so many, like just in the Podern family alone. There's so many pods you could interview or talk to, or and it would even be bad to have repeats on, because like if let's say you did, because didn't you guys have stuff that matters with two guys that don't? Didn't they come on your show?
No.
I'm thinking of some.
We had Tattooed Bananas. Is that who you said?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. You had Tattooed Bananas on your show, but like even if you had like Tattooed Bananas come on, and then like 2 to 3 months from now, that's a fresh interview again. You know what I mean? Like that's another, like they can come back and totally talk shop and whatever, and I think people would still be down with it. They'd still be into it.
And the beautiful thing, because like there is, I guess, an interview hidden in the conversation somewhere, but because there's so many wild tangents that happen during the course of this show, like we simply, like, a lot of times we don't get to anything really. Like we get to maybe the bare bones of what, like, your podcast or whatever you do. So like I would say almost every guest I've had on, I could probably say there's an easy hour or two left in that conversation.
Yeah, easily.
And like I desperately want to have, and I'm going to wait until probably a year mark, but I want to have Erin McGathy on again, because we literally did not get into anything. Like we talked a little bit about her origin and of like what made her want to be a live performer. And then went on a half-hour tangent about Ireland before she had a split.
What a great episode, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's still my favorite. Still my favorite episode.
Yeah.
And I think why I like it so much is because I like left the curtain open and pre-recorded like that pep talk in the beginning. And I don't know, there's something about that I really like, that I like you because I instantly switch from scared little boy who's about to like talk to one of his idols to like podcast Kev.
Oh, nice. I think Travis came in too.
Yes,
I think he's in.
I see him in, but it looks like I can already tell that his microphone's not working because his little there it is.
He's getting it. He's got to get the proper amount of background noise going before he starts recording. So he's got to turn. There he is. There's the man. Nice. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna actually, Travis, if you want to talk a little bit, I'm gonna monitor your. It's not us, dude.
Yeah, it's you.
It's not us, man. I promise you.
All right. Well, we all have blue bars, so that's a good thing. So Zencaster's working as far as I'm concerned.
Remote VoIP failure. Error just popped up.
It didn't pop up on my side. That's interesting.
I just got a pop-up menu that there's a error of some sort, but
okay.
I don't know what it is, but I think it might have been Travis's audio, cut his internet cutting out or whatever.
Okay.
And he's gone. Goodbye, Travis.
Oh God, it's
Bye bye.
so. Is that how it sounds when you guys do your show?
Yep.
How do you guys get it done?
See, I think you're starting to understand like what I have to go through to get that show out. Because I cut it, edit it, put it together, and then publish it. So it's a job.
I do have, and I'll wait till we start the show proper. But I do have questions because I listened to a couple episodes today, and don't you don't have to commentate on this because I will commentate it during the show.
Okay.
But I didn't realize that you guys went back to 2014 if that date's accurate.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. We'll see how he sounds when he gets back, and if he just keeps dropping in and out, we'll just do a show around that.
Yeah, we'll have to. Let's see. I'll ask him. I'll text him and see if he's coming back. You know who else I'd love to get on as an interview is Cade and Jeff from Super PB Time.
I see. So I haven't listened to that show yet.
Oh my god, dude, it's so good. It's good.
I've been it's such an issue because I've been like binging these tabletop RPG podcasts.
Oh, those are awesome too. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm super jelly that you got David Steele and the crew on your show.
Oh, you can easily get him on. There's no way he'll say no.
Well, I guess okay. I mean, fair enough. Like perhaps that may be true. Like if I just like asked or whatever, got a hold of him, was like, hey, would you come on the show? I'm sure that he would or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is that like. You did it first, and secondly, I think he was more familiar. I don't know. I had this. I guess where my envy comes in is I felt like he was familiar with your show and liked your show.
He came out to our live show in Philly.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, there's that connection, and then like and then he came on. You guys seemed like you guys were good friends, and like, I think I'm a little jelly there, but.
That was the first time I ever talked to him. Was
oh nice. Okay.
Yeah, right there. I mean, it's saved through Twitter. I mean, we chatted through Twitter here and there, but no, most of my guests are people that I have never talked to.
Oh. Really?
Yeah. If I had to put like a percentage on it, I'd say it's definitely like probably 75 or more %.
Oh wow! Holy moly!
Yeah. No, there's because the people that I know that I would want to talk to, like they just don't want to do it. They're like, why do I want to do a podcast? No, I'm not going to talk.
Well, at least you don't have to explain what a podcast is anymore. I guess that used to be the thing. You're like,
yeah. We're finally in that world where people should get it at this point. Though at my current work, there's still people that are like when I talk about a podcast, because like that is my main form of entertainment. Mm-hmm. They're like, so I've heard this term, but can you explain what it is?
It's really interesting too because you would let's see, I was listening to a show, super like popular, not an indie pod whatsoever, like super commercialized podcast. I forget the name of it right off the top of my head, but basically what they were it was This Week in Tech. Sorry, This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte, and he was saying that like they call their show Netcasts because they feel like podcast is kind of owned by Apple because like it came from iPod podcasting casting to a iPod, and so they felt like calling their show a podcast was a misnomer because that's an Apple term, so they call their show Netcast.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I would not argue that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my only argument against that is that I call everything a podcast. Like that's just what everyone calls it. So I don't think I would ever remember to say I'm going to be like that guy. And
right. Well, it's kind of like it's calling soda Coke. Like all the people that call anything that's pop or soda, they call it Coke. Same idea.
Is that better?
Because that's a lot better so far.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So far, so good.
All right then.
Did you go to somebody's house that has actual internet?
No, I turned on my fucking hotspot on my phone, so I'm not sure how reliable that's going to be.
Genius, dude. No, that was genius. Why didn't you do that for our fucking show? Why'd you wait? Awesome.
Because we're on a good.
I'll be interested.
We're going to be on a good podcast. I want to step it up a little bit.
We're going to be on an actual award-winning podcast.
Whoa, not yet. I'll be interested to see how this works because I've always like at my work, a lot of people complain about like their phone hotspots, and like I have to explain to them, well, this is why it's not as good as using your home internet, but because your home internet's so bad, I just wonder.
Faster. It's definitely faster than his home internet right now. For sure. So how does this work? Do we do you just are you going to give us the drop, or are you just going to should we just hang back in the back? I mean,
if you guys, I'll kick off the intro, and then if you feel like, if you cut in, you cut in, but you'll hear when I say, welcome to the show.
All right.
Okay. I'll kick it off proper now.
Okay.